So, as people start rolling in here, um, I I really want to show you guys the kind of process that I have been refining for creating really dynamic scenes, and we'll get into all that here in a minute. But because there's a lot of regulars here, a lot of people who are familiar with our kind of workflow we got going on here. But generally speaking, what we can do is we can, you know, pretty easily prompt any character that comes up inside of our images, right? Like if and you see that some folks are already posting their characters, like Yona here from Lolosoon, who's inside of like the Sage comic verse and whatnot, as he calls it. Where is the button? And they're already jumping in with their OCs and having fun with this. But when it comes to the kind of tools and stuff we use here, we mostly focus on character referencing. The CREF tool that you'll see referenced in some of these prompts, like this one here. But what I've been doing as of lately is actually working on multi-character references, and this is not like officially part of like the recommended use of this tool, but the results of it are just ridiculous. I've been having a lot of fun with this. And it really just comes down to your intent. When you generate an image with Midjourney, if you provide a character reference, a style reference, or anything like that, or even just write a prompt, you're giving direction. You're really asking, like, I want this image. I want to hone in this particular idea. And sometimes you want to just kind of explore and see, the generated spaces, as opposed to being overtly derivative, which oftentimes happens when you keep your character weight really high and your style weight really high. So these experiments are actually about dropping the character weight and the style weight significantly, all the way down to 0 when it comes to the character weight, in order to get more dynamic interaction between two characters. So if you're particularly interested in creating comics, storytelling, that kind of thing, if you want to be a director, it really comes down to the performances of your characters. And I say that with plural, like the interaction between two characters is really where the entertainment is. Like, you could generate one character all day, have them do all sorts of stuff, but right now we have to kind of move the canvas around in order to include another person. We basically have to fudge them in or bash them in to get two people to be interacting with each other or anything like that. Especially if you've done prompts like sword fighting or anything where two characters are interacting with each other, you'll see this where the interactions between those two characters can sometimes be almost non-existent, where they just kind of stand next to each other as opposed to, touching or wrestling or doing anything like that. So this workflow that I have here is about dropping the style weight to 50 and the character weight to 0 for the Sage comics. So what I want you guys to do inside of VC Text, and I'll just kind of run through things for anyone who's new here. We have a couple different channels for you to check out. We have the stage here where we're talking. I assume you know where the stage is because you're here. But just above that, you'll see VC Create and VC Text. VC Create is where we're prompting stuff together. Everything that you guys prompt here will show up on my stream here. That eventually ends up on YouTube and stuff. But just above that, though, we have VC Text. And that's where you guys can chat with me and just kind of jump into the conversation, provide suggestions, ideas, that kind of thing. So I want you guys to jump over to VC Text really quick, or VC Create if you just want to hop into this right away. But what I want you guys to do is to give me a premise. The only limitation we have is that we need to reference at least two people in the prompt. And then we will get a usable result. Oh, hey, Legal Beagle, good to see you. The Beagle has returned, indeed. Hey, Nixie, good to see you too. So at this point, if you guys have any sort of like premise that you want to give, feel free to give it inside of VC text. I'm just going to post one here really quick for you guys. So right now I have this listed as an animated film depicting two people playing a board game. We can really have this say anything in terms of our premise here. So like could do surfing in Hawaii. So the idea behind this is that all the results that we get out of this is like them making bacon pancakes. So there's bacon on the table. Like it tries to make whatever you ask for make sense. But if you drop the character weight to 0 and the style weight really low on the Sage comics, you'll notice that they really allow for a lot of diversity when it comes to the shots and the imagery that you get. I mean, this face of Sage alone on the bottom right is too much fun. So as you guys are suggesting ideas, we also have the ability to bring in the fantasy elements into this too, which is where I hope to kind of end, as we get towards the end of this stream. I want us to be able to have multiple reliable character references for multiple interactions between people so that we can be like, all right, these are our two villains. These are our adventurers, that kind of thing. And we can just kind of mess with it from there. But let's see what we got for the first result here. I'm going to have to check out what you guys are messing with here. There's already plenty of stuff from Ancient, of course, and Gompasta. Nope, no big red button here neither. Oh, these live comics are so fascinating and interesting to me. But here we go. Okay, so I want you guys to mostly appreciate the fact that, like, if we run a character reference at 100%, you're going to get, for the most part, the attire of what your characters are wearing. They're going to merge together. They're going to blend together, that kind of thing. But if you think of them not as two-dimensional cartoon characters that always wear the same t-shirts and stuff, if you think of them as, characters or puppets to mess with, if we think of them as people, they're going to have diversities of outfits. They're going to have all sorts of different moods and just states of mind. Okay. So if you look at, this is two people surfing, right? Like, and it literally is a Michael and Sage it just surfing. So it's really easy for us now to, with these puppets that are extremely close to Sage and Michael, we can go in and in-paint the corrections and essentially finish each one of these shots, depending on which ones we like. So we have here animated film depicting two people stealing a diamond, Ocean 11 style. I love this like I'm about to duke it out, punch you kind of Michael here. That's great. We got breaking into the vault. Nice. It looks more like a laundromat, but yeah, no, that's hilarious. Okay, awesome. So I love that you guys are already starting to mess with it, but let's see what the suggestions are, and we're going to start inputting those. Okay, so let's see here. I want to scroll up a little bit because there's some people who offered things earlier. So, okay, let's just put them all in there really quick. We have depicting two people playing chess at the park. It's basically Central Park, right? Playing chess we'll just say Central Park because they're in New York, right? We'll do that one. That's from Lolo Soon. Hi, future me watching on YouTube. Also, hello, everyone. That's funny. Okay, and now two girls on a revenge trip. I'm curious what it does for Michael if we do this. So instead of two people, I'm going to say two girls on revenge trip. Sure, I don't know what revenge trip is, but we'll go for it. So let's submit that one. And then we have from Potato Propagator. Oh, it's good to see you again, man. We have depicting two people. Okay, two pirates on a ship fighting over a treasure. Why am I typing? I could just copy and paste it. Chest of sweet potatoes. Of course it's sweet potatoes. Of course it's sweet potatoes with you. Treasure chest of sweet potatoes. And we have one from Bert here. Two characters dressed as superheroes doing superhero stuff. Okay. All right. Let's do that. Depicting. There we go. Submit that. And now let's see. Fantasy premise. Okay. An overbearing boss giving you a mountain of paperwork for employee in a fantasy setting. Okay. So what I can do for the fantasy setting, by the way, is I have this up here already where I have included a bonus image of Michael and Sage as fantasy characters. So if we look here, we have this image that I had generated based off of the original multi-character reference, which is this one here, the 1994 poster. So at least my theory about why this works so well for the Sage and Michael comics particularly is because of how this image is laid out. There's so much negative space. There's so much room for interpretation about what is the light source, what is the character's like attire. They're not fully represented here. It's like only them partially here. So by combining these two, we essentially create these sort of scenes where we can have basically any fantasy premise be introduced, and we don't even have to include the fantasy one, but we're going to do that. So let's do animated film depicting an overbearing boss. So this is in reference to people giving amount of paperwork to 2 employees. I'm going to say that, and hopefully it generates a boss. We'll see what it does for that. Group of pirates fighting the Imperium. Ooh. Okay, so let's scroll down a little bit here, and we'll check out our results after we got these all submitted in here. Let's do. Oh, we have a Western premise too. Okay, depicting a group of pirates fighting. So let's do group of pirates fighting the Imperium. We'll see what Imperium gets interpreted as. I do writing for film, so no idea it was old. Just an output can be bad. It won't let me put first in chat. Gotta wait 10 minutes. Okay. Nixie said depicting 2 people on a camping adventure. And then survival drama. It might be best to separate these into 2 separate prompts, but we're just going to submit it. All right. Okay, let's take a look at these results. So we got this one, which is the 2 girls on a revenge trip. So it's doing a really good job keeping the genders of the characters, at least. But it's definitely like aging them down a little bit to do this one. So I think it's just the phrasing of girls, right, instead of women. Will influence that result. So that's interesting. Okay, we have the 2 pirates on a ship fighting over a treasure chest of sweet potatoes. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here for you guys. The idea of Sage just chucking sweet potatoes at Michael is just too goofy. But all right, let's move on. We got 2 dressed as superheroes doing superhero stuff. Why are they so chibi? I do find the first one quite funny whenever they make Sage really, really little. A man in a cloud surfing in Hawaii. Okay, so this is a little angry, I can tell. Yeah, so it at least when it comes to trying to introduce additional C-refs, we ran into this also when we were wrestling with some stuff with Rhapsody's character earlier. One of the things that I've noticed that you can lean these results in a certain direction simply by including an additional C-ref of whichever character you want to be prominent in that shot. So if we really wanted to focus on Michael for a scene, we could also include an image of Michael next to the multi-character one, and then kind of go from there. But let's see here. Let's check out the next one. So depicting an overbearing boss giving a mountain of paperwork to 2 employees in a fantasy setting. Okay, so the fantasy setting is not being understood here, but look at what it's doing in terms of the dynamic interactions between these characters. That's what's so exciting to me about this. I really love this second result here. That's just amazing. And then this fourth result where she does have the angel wings. So there's at least a little bit of a fantasy segment to that. She does have the angel wings here. I do like how she's throwing the paperwork though. Just very fun and dynamic. Um, okay, we have an epic disco dance scene. Okay, so this actually exemplifies something that I'm glad you showed here. Because if you do not reference two people inside of your prompt, that means that whatever information you're using to dictate the imagery is going to try to merge both characters into one person, and it might make multiple of those same merged weird people. So if we then, instead of doing epic disco dancing scene, we'll say two people engaged in an epic disco dancing scene, we'll probably get more reliable results, as well as results that don't mix the character designs as much. So we'll see how that goes. Comic panel depicting two rebel revolutionaries walking in abandoned tunnels of a dystopian Paris city. Ooh, and I know who this is. I already know who this is, because anything dystopian Paris is Lolo Soon from a mile away. It's good to see you, bud. But this is fun too, because we did get a couple results on my server that was basically like handling an M14. Like that was the premise or the prompt. So like if I come into here, I believe it's inside of White Lodge, yeah, right here. This result here is just super fun, and is the result of asking for inspecting their M14 rifle. And we got a really interesting shot from that of Michael with an actual like flesh wound, and her like about to use his shoulder as like a shooting, like a stabilizer for shooting, which would blow out his ear, by the way. But I just think this is such a fascinating use of character referencing, and I'm really excited to see what you guys can do with it, because of the next thing we're going to do after we pick our favorite scene here. Animated film depicting two superheroes fighting a giant robot. Yes, oh my god, Michael here. Michael at the top of the start here is just amazing, because he's got like, look at the tiny little chibi sage, just like there's a bunch of chibi shades in this one. That's great. What even is a button? I love the crystal dude from Fungi Mancer. It's awesome. You guys keep going on about buttons. Okay, depicting a group of pirates fighting the Imperium. This actually gave us some really fun results that we might be able to mess with later. I really like this first one here, because we have a third character that we can input and mess around with too. We have writing suggestions during a workshop. Yes, please do my work for me. So that's awesome. I just love the canniness of this. Two people preparing Thanksgiving. Yes. My partner recommended that we do for next week, because I will be streaming on the 22nd. Just before Thanksgiving here in the United States. We do a feast. So maybe we'll get all of our characters on a single dinner table and do like a big, a big dinner kind of thing. It'll be great to see everyone's little plates and offerings and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's a lot of fun. Let me hop over to the text chat here really quick and see what you guys are talking about. It's Zero's birthday. Wait, it's Zero's birthday? Oh my god. Hi. Zero, happy birthday. That's awesome. I hope you the best on your birthday. Whatever you do, I hope it's a ton of fun. And yeah, thank you for spending some of it with me. You're welcome to do anything else, too. It is your birthday after all. Go get a nice meal or something like that. I hope you do. But to celebrate that, I'm curious, did you have any ideas here? Let's see. Yeah, if you want to do something fun, Zero, you'd pitch it. It's your birthday. I heard Victor yell, "Oh no, I was AFK." I was yelling at you the happy birthday. But I wanted to show you guys, after we pick a couple of scenes that we like here, I wanted to show you what happens when we start to expand on these and we start to tell we try to tell more completed stories with these. It's really a matter of like picking which one is going to give you the least amount of work to do. Whoa, What did you get? Epic dance battle between a man and a woman breakdancing. Nice. And this is so they took, I Troll For You took out the style reference for the Sage and Michael comics, which will immediately introduce a massive variety of styles. And if you notice, this bottom right one here is what he asked for, but it is certainly far more realistic, far more, the production value of it is so much higher. And we've talked a lot about overproduction in the past, where sometimes you'll just get like this, like almost like disconnect that people have because it reaches that uncanny valley. And once it gets there, people don't really engage with it the same way as they would say like, a 2D film or something like that. This is a problem, a very common problem for 3D animation back in the day, much less now. But it's certainly true that the more realism we introduce, the more likely we actually disconnect with our audiences because we make it less relatable, have less connection to the person who's reading it, and more connection to whatever's being depicted in there. That's a great happy birthday. That's awesome. We could actually use the editor too if we wanted to bring in more matching character style stuff, but. Let's see here. Let's take a look at a couple more of these, and then we're going to expand on one of them and try to complete a little story with you guys today. So we have a top-down view of an animated film depicting two people out on the edge of a castle balcony preparing to jump into a swirling round magical pool. I really like the first one just because it's like, she like jumps in thinking something's going to happen. It's just, I'm wet now, but otherwise it looks like they're just going into a hot tub. Let's see here. Nice Victors. Okay, so we have two people playing video games. Nice. I like the kind of crunchy face Sage here, where she's like, straining for the game. These are awesome. So let me come down to here. Hey, Zero, if you're here, what is it? Throw me a premise. Throw me something that we can work with here, and I'm more than happy to start messing with it for your birthday. That'd be a lot of fun to do. But I do want to show you guys. Let's see what Rhapsody's been working on here. So Rhapsody included a couple character references for Rio. So we got Rio here. Then we have. Was that included in there? Let's see. Whoop. What was the last image here? Okay, yeah. So these are character referencing all of Rio here, and then using the Sage comics as the style reference. You could see that even with Rhapsody's character here, it strips the wings, it strips all the fantasy elements from the character, but it leaves that identifiable face, right, that we can work with, that we can then inpaint the rest of the details in, using a higher character weight on the reference there. So we might mess with that here in a minute, but I want to show you guys. Yeah, Edith, working with your pink hair character. I love that you're mixing in the Sage comics with that. That is awesome. Why are they so chibi? Let's see here. Okay. All right. So we got a recommendation from Zero. It's dystopian film noir. Okay. So I'm going to click on the other results from you guys. There's so many of them, and we'll go through the rest of them here in a minute. But I want to try the dystopian film noir really quick. Look at how happy they are. That's awesome. Actually, I know an artist that I might need to use this with, so I'll save that for later. So if we come into here and we say two people really hating the grocery store. Good. Let's try let's do a dystopian film noir depicting two people, and we'll just let that with no action for the characters. We'll just see what it does when it comes to trying to create the dystopian film noir, because keep in mind, the Sage comics are still going to be influencing the actual like imagery, like the actual styles and aesthetics. So the film noir part we might have to craft a new style reference to kind of evoke at least the aesthetics of that. But notice that, let's see here. So if we do, yeah. Oh, this is a manga. So this is from Gompasta. Two people in a film noir manga. That's pretty cool. It definitely makes it much more like FBI-esque. But I'm curious, did mine go through? Yes. So this is a dystopian film noir depicting two people. Sage got shot. And so because of the style reference, the film noir doesn't really come through. And the dystopian parts is more about like how disconnected the characters are a little bit here. So this one will require us digging in and creating a new one. So let's try this. We'll re-roll this, but this time I'm going to remove the style references entirely. Because we want to like mostly emphasize on this part of the prompt, and we'll see what it does for that. Because it's going to look a lot more like this. We'll see what it do. I love the gunplay stuff's always super fun. Okay, here we go. So immediately, as soon as you remove the style references, it's so much more noir from these results here. So Gompasta is also running a couple of them for you guys to see. So if we like take the second one here, these are. I love the way that it reshaped Michael's hair to kind of be more like poignant and I don't know, almost like what do you call that? Like I would say there's a Pixar film this is reminding me of, like one of the shorts that they did. I think it's the Papers one. But this lets us now be able to say, hey, okay, let me take this, and even though it has no comic elements or anything in there, which helps produce some more interesting results than what we had before. What we can do now, though, is come up to the one where we had the premise in there. Let's see here. Just a moment. There, this one here. And I'm just going to swap the style reference for this one. And we will go from there. Now, our style weight is still listed really low. It's still listed at 50. And the reason why that is because it allows for a lot of diversity, a lot of really interesting changes to happen in the composition. Because if you set these things too high, like for example, we have a whole bunch of fantasy prompts that involve characters being around like arches and stone masonry and all that stuff. If you include that in your style weight and you lift it too high up as a number, like somewhere above 200 or 300 weight, you're going to immediately notice that every background has those stones, has that archway in it. Sometimes you need that control. You need that kind of definity in the results. But what I want to show you guys here is, okay, so here we go. This is my result. We'll check out the other ones from you guys here in a minute. So this was using that different style reference and saying, hey, I want to try this with this style, and we can now try to direct these characters to be doing things inside of this dystopian film instead of describing it as a dystopian film. So let's just do two people chasing down a crook. And it's probably going to just make them cops, you know what I mean? Like, and making them contextually police. So that'll be interesting to see. I like the little beret on Sage. That's cute. Mm-hmm. That's from design artist Draxler Andreas. Nice. I do like the comic style that Gompasta has managed to create here. Let's see here. I do like that a lot, actually. It's definitely evoking strong colors. There is strong contrast there. So let's see what their style weights are. Okay, so it is the Sage Comics. But they dropped the style weight all the way to 10 instead of 50. Wow, okay. So this definitely looks like a way more efficient method of doing what I was trying to. So like we definitely diverge stylistically very heavily. Like this is almost like this is an anime film depicting two detectives walking into a grim, dark alleyway, film noir style raw character reference Sage and Michael, and then character weight 0. But what the important thing is the version 6.1. That's going to bring in way more realism, way more interesting lighting, because it's not pulling just from animation. And I'll up-res one of those too, because we can mess with that. But yeah, I'm really liking what Gompasta did here by dropping the style weight so low that it was able to bring in so much more noir elements to the comics. That's awesome. And yeah, and definitely true that if you start to use your like personalization codes or version 6.1 in general, you're going to see characters diverge away from your intent there. So chasing down a crook though, you know, like it essentially like we get some of the running action there, but it's not diverse enough. It doesn't look as interesting as I want it to be there. I think what Gompasta was doing was a lot better. And so what I want to do here though, we've gotten a lot of things that kind of look like our characters, but not. I want to use this one as an example of how we can really hone in specific characters. Like how do we get these sort of basic, generics of our characters to actually be our characters more fully. So we're going to use Very Region to do that. And what we want to have ahead of time is all the character references for whoever we want to feature inside of these comics. Okay. Right now it's Sage and Michael. They have, they have character sheets all to themselves that we have listed on our Discord. But for really whatever you're going to do, you just want to make sure that you first start off with having complete character references for each character that you want to have included in whatever, story you're telling. And then you're going to build a dynamic or like basically a shot with both of those characters in it. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. You could even draw it yourself if you have the skills to do that. And then we are going to now take these sort of generated, loosely inspired by our character results, and we're going to now bring our characters in fully. So what we can do for that is, like, for example, I'm going to make Sage here on the left side. So we're going to hit Very Region. And I have, with my character references, I have Sage Office saved in my account. So we'll see if this works here. And then I need to highlight everything that isn't Sage. So, it's also true the character's not the right height. Like, she is way too tall to be Sage here, and her face is not round enough, and so on and so forth. But I'm going to take advantage of the fact there's a little bit of blonde hair in there already to kind of say, hey, okay, this is what I want for this character here. We'll just generally select this here. And then the only thing you got to do is making sure that your character references are now all one character, and that your character weight is brought back up to 100. And because we are working with version 6.1, we can also switch to Niji 6, which is what the Sage and Michael comics is actually built up in. So that means that we can dynamically shift between version 6.1 and Niji 6 as we need it. So I may need to grab her links separately. We'll see if this lets it go through. Yeah. So my preset here for Sage's reference art isn't working. So let me grab her links really quick. Just a moment. Okay. And scrolling. And I got Sage right here. Okay. So at this point, we take our character links, drop them into the character reference here, making sure the character reference is set to 100, and then hit submit. Now, the thing about this is that by setting it to 100, what we actually end up doing is we have a very good chance that we're going to break the style. Like, basically have a stylistic shift that happens between where we in-painted and what's in the rest of the scene. You can balance this with dropping your character weight just a little bit, just to kind of introduce some additional shading and environment. So, whoa, some of the stuff you guys are doing is already wacky. Let's see here. Ooh, hackers. Okay, let me keep scrolling through here though. I gotta catch back up with what I was talking about. Why is there a goat? It's so easy to get distracted with y'all. Let's see. Ooh, that's fun. All right, I'm just gonna blast through this really quick. Where was my result? This is the problem when there's too much enthusiasm. Let me find out what I was doing here. Now, this is some really cool stuff from you guys, though. Oh, that's right. I was doing an in paint, so I should just have to look for that in paint. There, here we go. Okay, so you could see here that we actually got it pretty good in terms of the lighting to match for this scene. So we can come into here, and if that wasn't true, if there was a big clash between these, just dropping the character weight would have helped out here. But now it's just a matter of maybe introducing, more of, say, like her cheeks and stuff should be a little different here. We can even make her brows a little different. But if I now come in and select, say, the rest of this outfit here, it's far more likely to style break than as if I'm just kind of fixing small bits and pieces here. So a lot of times, like when you guys kind of like get stuck in a place, it can be just from over in painting. Like there's too much information, too much diversity that's being introduced. So I like to kind of go chunk by chunk by chunk and craft the images more in a more iterative way. So you could see out of these 4 results, we got different smiles, different sort of laughs there. But again, now we're working with Niji, so we're able to take this result and go, hey, all right, what is it now? Start to introduce more anime or more aesthetics that follow along with the Sage comics, because like this is amazing stuff. Like looks really cool, but it's so divergent in terms of the styles. So when you start to talk about, oh, I need to be productive, oh, I need to to make stuff that is very efficient, these sort of divergencies actually can become really problematic, because it means that we have we have to keep re-rolling just to get something that at least has similar line weight, let alone all the other details. So I'm loving these noirs, though. They look amazing. And so let's see here. So this is working with just the Sage character references. And you'll notice here that just like the sheer amount of emphasis on the character weight, like of 50, is enough to just completely dominate these results, to have Sage all over the place on here. Dropping that to 0 will probably make a lot more dynamic or interesting characters interacting with each other, that kind of thing. Like, look at this. This is amazing. It's very Men in Black, for sure. Awesome. Okay, cool. So at this point, I'm going to jump into the text chat here and take a look at what you guys are saying here. Now we need a Noir Lodge, the Gray Lodge. Yeah. So for those folks that don't know, on my server, we have a couple different interesting use cases for generating imagery with Midjourney. So basically, we create stories together. We produce comics together. We make things on our server, but we also have something called a lodge, and the lodge is where all the actual generation happens, and then we link everything to the to either a Nexus or a portal. And the reason why we use these kind of sci-fi phrases and terms and stuff is because a lot of times what we end up doing is we end up crossing over. We end up creating interesting dynamics between characters, whether they're interacting for a specific scene or there's a larger or like overarching story that someone wants to tell. They can do that within the character portal. So if we look at the characters we already have here, I mean, Roxy's getting an attitude right now. We have Himari, we got Miss Nameless. The Yona was a lot of fun to work with this week. And then I behind the scenes, I've been working on Vicky's next big introduction or big reveal, I guess. And all that gets at least little bits by bits put inside of the character portal and stuff here. So if you have a specific character that you have been exploring with or anything like that, please submit it to the character portal. It's a great way to immediately see people, messing with your character and trying to see what the limits of them are. We'll see what people do with it, as well as trying to introduce their character to either interact with, fight with, or do really whatever you want in that regard. So at this point, I'm going to take a minute here to take a sip of this. I don't have a smoothie today. I just have a drink, well, a soda, but I definitely need to kind of run through what you guys have been working on here. We're going to pick our favorites. And what I'm going to ask you guys to do is if you scroll through VC Create, and VC Create is right above the stage here. If you scroll through VC Create, I want you guys to find like your own favorite results and then upres them. Just hit that the U button here, just to upres your favorite results, because what we're going to do after that is we are going to expand and produce, or at least try to predict the neighboring panels to this comic, to whatever stories that are kind of being unfolded for us by Midjourney here. And there's plenty of like people riffing in different directions too. I'm really liking some of these like overhead shots of like of this alleyway, especially like the second one here is super cool. I love that top right result. But I'm just going to give you guys about a minute to dig through everything inside of VC Create. Just scroll up like this. And if you find one that you really like, just upres it, because we're going to then expand on that with the new editor, with the web editor. So you guys could see kind of the full potential of what we're doing here today. All right, I'll be back in a minute.
Well, and while you're scrolling and looking for something to expand on, while Victor has a sip of his not a smoothie. Hi, I'm Kinky Kong. I'm here up on the stage saying nothing much, but thinking all the things. I don't know what that means. I just wanted to say a thing. But I'd really appreciate it if not only would you come to Prompt Battles this weekend, right? But if you would go check out the event calendar and mark your interest in this series. Because as you can see, our interest has been marked down to 0 because of a glitch in the calendar. So nobody's being reminded anymore, and that's real sad for me. And I'm pretty sure that happened today with Victor too, because his number used to be way higher for the interested people. And everybody needs to remember to check those calendars and remark what they're interested in. And that's a public service announcement. Also, we're having prompt battles this weekend like we do every weekend, but I mean, this one's going to be special because this one is this weekend. And I hope you come. I hope you show up and play with us. We give away fast hours. We are really cool people to know. Not to toot my own horn, but toot toot. I'm there. We learn how to prompt things that's way out of our wheelhouse that we never would have thought to prompt before. We do a lot. It's just a lot. We have like 18 hours there throughout the weekend. I think it's, that's every weekend I say that it's a little bit more. 16 hours there. And you should come. You never know who's going to be there and teach you something that you never thought of before. Maybe you'll see an SREF that you never would have seen otherwise, or whatever. You should swing on through. I did drop the event links in the chat so you can see what time it happens in your neck of the woods. We do earlier on that. We go later on Sundays. We go from 3:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern, and then on Sundays we go from 10 a.m. Eastern to 6 p.m. Eastern, and I would love to have you. But yep. Let me get you a link for Victor's event too, so that you can mark your interest in being reminded all the time.
Yeah, it sucks that bug happened. It means a lot less people get pinged whenever we go live, but it's what is it? Oh, we'll recover that number. It's okay.
Yeah, that was the wrong link. I meant to put yours in. We will, and it's gonna happen. But we're happy to have you guys here, and thank you so much for coming. Are you good? Are you quench your thirst?
Yes, I have quenched my thirst. I am good. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to disappear back off into the dark, dark distance
Into the
quietly. Help.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Kinky. I really appreciate that. So I've looked at a bunch of your all stuff here, and we're gonna probably expand on one or two of these here. But I did notice one that I want to mess with, which is from Zero here. So let's see here. So I really love the this cake that is being like kind of over the panel border here. So I want to expand on that and see what we can do with it. So the temptation here is just to hit one of these buttons, right? Just to be like, all right, span to the right, that kind of thing. See what's here. And we can do that just so it saves inside of my account. But my actual goal with hitting that button was just to bring it into my account so that I can then mess with it in the web editor, which gives us a lot more options from what we had before with just Discord. So we'll mess around with that a little bit here. But I want to see if anyone uprised anything else. Ooh, this one looks cool from Candy Apple. That's awesome. I love the kind of more gangly proportions of the characters here. That looks awesome. So let's also upres. I'm just gonna do a make square on this one so we can bring that into our editor. Let's see what else. Ooh, this one's fun. This one's from Draxler Andreas. So we'll expand on this one too. So with this one, I'm actually just going to use the link from it. So let's open up Midjourney here. All right, so we have the web editor here. Oh my. I'll jump back into Zero's thing here in a minute, but we're gonna go hit edit here. This is the new web editor, and we're just going to hit edit with URL. If you haven't generated, I think 10,000 images, right? You might not have access to this. It's still, I believe it's still a test group that's using it. But we're going to actually upload this image from Draxler as the URL for this. So let's submit that. Copy image address and then paste that as the URL. Should work. Yes. Okay. So what's interesting about this is that we can actually use this image here without any additional like character reference or anything like that. Where I'm first going to show you guys what it's like just to expand the canvas out, and then we'll write multiple panels depicting a film noir, and then we'll hit submit on this. And we can then change that also to Niji, just by -Niji6 to enter a more anime data set. Now, I'm not referencing any part of the original prompt. So let's go back into here and we can actually grab the prompt itself here. It's a flashlight into a cupboard full of frogs, and there's no frogs listed here. So we'll see if it shows us the frogs after this. So we can come into here and we'll just replace this prompt with that. Dystopian film noir depicting two detectives shining a flashlight into a cupboard full of frogs. So we'll hit submit on this, and we'll see how these three compare really quick. So just by saying multiple panels depicting a film noir, it tries to refer to whatever's already in the canvas and then try to make something that's contextually like inspired by that. So it's a lot of just looking through the window for this one. But when it comes to Niji6, like adding the anime data set, it introduces a lot more like character angles and stuff for this. So we could just in-paint Michael's hair or put the hat back on him by referring to this previous image here. We don't really need to do anything that special for this, by the way, if we wanted to do that, because it's already in the frame. We could just highlight select here and then write, hat or whatever the name of that style hat is here. Let's see. And then now with the actual prompt of saying full frogs, we have the frogs. We have the frogs all here. So I'll up-res this one because it's just kind of funny. and bring that to my gallery. But I will say that we have a lot of really risque images for Zero's birthday here, so you're welcome, I guess. That's your present. Okay. We'll move on. So I made this one square because I wanted to take this entire prompt that's here, hit editor, and we'll try to expand this one out and try to tell a story with this one here. So this one we can kind of go really wide on because I want to see what it does with these because we have to get rid of these black panels on here because otherwise it's going to try to keep recreating those black panels. And then we'll say we can use this as the prompt as itself, right? And if we submit it, it'll most likely try to keep recreating a different blondes and brunette men together. So instead of just running this, we can add multiple comic panels to the start of this, and then we can even put it as a multi-prompt by adding a number at the end here. So like I'm going to set it to 4. So everything multiple comic panels is worth basically 4 times whatever is written in the rest of the prompt here. So we can try to emphasize that we want this to be multiple panels, because if we look at the result without that, you can see that we get basically the same image, but like stretched out and brought out, because it's only going to be referring to what's already inside of the prompt, both written and visually. But if I now put an emphasis on the comic panels, it's basically just changing the composition of the scene. It's not really doing what I want it to do. So this is where having that like set style reference is so important, because we can keep expanding and keep seeing what our options are here. But the reality is that if we rely entirely on Midjourney as in words alone to do this, we oftentimes end up in a place where we don't have diversity, or it's you can notice that there's not a lot of diversity out of these shots. It's all just Michael sitting in the chair, right? So if I now come into here and we'll go back to the, which by the way, if you guys want to jump into the original prompts, there is a way to jump back more easily. Let's see here. Yeah, we just scroll down. But if I now come into here, drag this in so it's not as big, we'll drag this down to here. What I can do is get rid of everything that's written in here and get rid of the character reference as well. And we just write multiple comic panels and then switch this to an EG6. And we just say what we want them to do now for the rest of this shot. So we could say multiple comic panels depicting them finding a clue. And we'll see what this does. You have also the option of taking your original image and using that as a character reference now for the additional future panels. So the problem with that is how derivative it is. It tends to make the same sort of composition multiple times over, at least a similar one. But now, if we look at what I just wrote with only multiple comic panels depicting them finding a clue, if we kind of scroll through here for a sec, okay, look, we have now the backside of Sage leaning down that we can easily in-paint a different shirt on her. We have a slightly different angle of this shot with a different, but it's basically what I'm trying to emphasize here, guys, is that without doing any of the parameters that we would be using to create this scene, we can basically rely on Midjourney to interrogate the image as much as it can and then create something new off of that. So it is a lot of fun to explore like basically how far this can go with any particular premise that you have. So because I'm not working with the style reference here, though, it really jumps. It jumps a lot from image to image to image, even when we only rely on, a couple words. So what I'm going to do instead is hop back over to our Discord here. And I'm just going to dig through here until I can find, I do really like these. I do think that's such a cool shot from Gompasta here. But what I want to do is I want to find one with our style references still in there. So just a moment, guys. Let's see. because it's awesome. It's super cool to see you guys like messing around with, especially like mixed media, like bringing realism into it and all that sort of stuff. But it is true that when we start to like diverge away from like basically relying on that first result, it tends to diverge very quickly from there. So I want to see if we have. I noticed you guys like immediately delete the style references. That's kind of funny. And it's all just to make these more dynamic sort of angles and shots that you guys have been going with. So I get it. I get why you're doing it. But when it comes to doing, okay, yes, so that was the present there. Let me find. In fact, I think I like the one with Rio that Rhapsody did. I might mess with that one. Okay, here we got one with this one is from Draxler Andreas as well, but it has the style references for the Sage comics, at least our little preview of them here, and their character reference. So let's now try expanding on this one really quick. So I'm going to, for the sake of just getting it into my account, if you guys see any other prompts that someone else owns or anything like that, you can just go in and hit custom zoom and then set the zoom to 1.01. And that will just barely zoom out at all, like a pixel or two or whatever. That will let us be able to save it in our account quite quickly, rather than using the web editor for all of it. And I do like this kind of Western, the red inspired black and white stuff is super neat. But let's see if it shows us the frogs. There's the frogs. Perfect. Just want to kind of expand on some of these. So you guys are already doing it too. I love some of these dinner shots. The thing is that if you guys decide to expand on these panels, right, you really want to make sure that you hone in and in-paint the designs to match your characters the best you can. What is Hillgarden doing here? He's got like a whole horror thing going on. That's awesome. I really like that third one. That is just amazing. Yes, this one here. Like, look at that. Look at the angle and look at like just how much environment we have from this scene. This one would work out really well for expanding on. So we'll do that one too. Custom zoom 1.01. Okay. It really helps when there's panels that show up in that initial result because that will encourage more of them in the future. So whatever sort of results you get, you can lean them in whatever direction makes the most sense for the story that you're being inspired to tell. And I love this angle too. That is awesome. So let's take this one too. Wait, Rhapsody, what are you doing? What are you doing here? What? You're just suddenly inside the Sage comics now. That is amazing. That creating my own reference, of course. Yes, perfect. Yes, it's just, please, that's amazing. I love that. I love just being like surprised by that with you guys sometimes, where it's just like, what are you all doing? Okay, all right. So what I'm gonna do, I wanted to make a fumbling around Rio for fumbling around. Nice. Oh, am I in prison? Are you guys interrogating me now? This is amazing, actually. Fungi Mancer, I do like that premise a lot. You're gonna have to do a little bit of work to get the face to show behind the bars, but it is cool. Whoa, that is certainly an extreme angle, Lux. That's awesome. And that's all just because it's word only, right? But let's see here. It's always a good night when Victor says, wait, Rhapsody, what are you doing? You're right. That usually it's a good time for sure. But what I want to show you guys here is because we have the style references already in there. Let's start with this one here. We have the style references. We have a character weight set to 0. What I want to do is I want to bring the editor here and I want to start to describe a scene or something that's happening here. So let's do like if we just write, let's say like a fist fight or something like that, or something related to what these characters would be doing next. So let's see. So like I would say that this kind of looks like a moment of challenge, like something happened. It's probably I don't really want to look too into the imagery too much necessarily, but I definitely want to evoke something where it's like maybe a tag team sort of thing, maybe like a fight or whatever. So like, let's do, it says black and white manga with red color splash of two people in a gritty dystopian film noir. So all of that information is already baked inside of this image, really. So what we can do is we could basically say like, 3 goons approach them in an alleyway. Okay. And I'm going to run this first with the character reference and then next without the character reference. And you'll see why here in a moment. All right, we'll let that render and then I'll show you guys. All right. Now that we have included the character reference, you see how much it's just the character. It's going to just give us that character that's inside the reference, and it merged Michael and Sage a little bit. It actually completely merged them together because there is just no additional information to say that we want anything else. Like the character reference is just so powerful. It is such a powerful parameter that it can just dominate the results. And when we don't include it, it tries to continue the frame in some way, but now we have a separate character. We have a different character that's being introduced because we have removed the character reference. But now, if I come back into here, and just by the way, if you hover over the edit function here, it'll jump you back to your previous or the initial result you had here. So we can now hit editor on here. Now I'm going to remove the style references entirely just to show you guys what that looks like. And we also are working with a personalization code here, which will also skew the results. Then I'll hop back in the chat to see what you guys are up to. I'm going to try to remove that personalization code because I'm getting just lots of close-ups of people when I'm not expecting that. So let's go ahead and do that really quick. The fantasy alleyway one will probably be more interesting, or this one here, I mean. But let's go ahead, hit edit here, click on this, edit, and then I'm going to get rid of this code here. And then I'll hit submit on this. Okay, let's go into the chat really quick. Let's see what you guys are talking about. It was good seeing you again, Legal Beagle. Thanks for stopping by. I want to see them all. Rhapsody, for sure. Okay, let's see here. To be honest, let's keep the chat focused on the event. Yeah, right. Okay, so what I want to show you guys, though, this actually did work. So what I wrote is 3 guys, 3 goons approaching them in an alleyway. Okay, and now look, it's no longer close-ups of people because we removed the personalization code. Oftentimes, I'm removing parameters as I expand out because I want the scene to be different. I want the shot to be different in some way, and we didn't really get a ton of diversity necessarily. Like we didn't really get like a crowd shot or anything like that. We didn't even get 3 people to be seen in here, so it's not the best result. I probably could mess with something a little different to get more interesting stuff out of this. But I love expanding out and seeing what Midjourney just kind of generates for us in that regard. But yeah, I want to mess with this one here because you have some interesting style references pulled in for here, and these are very left field in terms of these results. That's what's giving you your unique angle, by the way, is this upward shot here. So if I now just expand on this and bring it out, yeah, let's just go out to the right here and then hit submit. I can almost guarantee you that it's going to be a very similar sort of composition that kind of just gets repeated. I end up just deleting and removing so much stuff whenever I'm expanding out like this. Let's see what we get. Yeah, okay. again, same thing as before. What I need to do here is we have some interesting like close-ups of this scene with, say, you know, like a sage-like character looking over. Like this could be used. Like this one right here could definitely be used, where we have her like coming over the edge, looking over the edge, and then pulling up from this panel here to kind of keep this scene moving a little bit. But what I'm going to do is hop back over to the original here, hit edit, and then I'm going to get rid of the character reference. That's going to be the biggest influence. That's what I mostly want to emphasize to you guys, is that getting rid of the character reference and then the personalization code after that will help a ton when it comes to trying to get more interesting imagery out of these sort of, you know, expanding of canvases and stuff. So let's take a look at that. And then I want to mess with Rhapsody's character a little bit here, because that just sounds like fun. She's put it in the legwork to create her own custom references. We're gonna use them. Very cool. All right, so you could see the kind of power of removing the character references immediately with this result. So we've kind of had some bad luck with that earlier one, but now look at this. We have a very fun sort of shot of a potential Michael. Like his wrists are all distorted and contorted right now because of just the amount of room we have on this canvas with this image. So it's very easy for us to just expand this down, highlight over here, and start to bring in like the body to be correct first, and then we start in painting details. So like, for example, I can take Michael's code here. I have this all saved out to the side here. I'll take Michael's code, his character reference, copy that over, and now I'm going to paste that into here, like so. And that will automatically add all of his character references. And it will let me be able to say, all right, I want to make sure his pants are a certain color. I want to make sure that he, you know, wears a certain kind of top, that kind of thing. The thing is, he's wearing a suit jacket in all of these. So I'm going to just highlight over and start to bring that continuity back. Try to make him wearing that suit jacket. So we'll come into here, select something like this. We'll get his hair to be right. That. And then bring the character weight. It's already at 100. So we'll just hit submit on this. It's just super important to bring the character weight back up. If you have it set to 0, right? It's really important to bring it back up to bring all those details back, so that every time you expand, you're kind of rehoning in those materials again. So while that's rendering here, I'm going to hop us back over to Discord here and take a look at what you guys have been up to. I really like this shot. That is just awesome. I would definitely in-paint a couple of changes to like where the lights are coming from and stuff, but I love this city shot. That's amazing. Yeah, some of these angles are really cool. Really emphasizing the tall buildings in New York by doing this, actually. That's really cool. I might have to actually go through this stream afterward and pick some of these, because you guys have been making some bangers here. Okay, cool. So, and I Troll For You kept on expanding in that direction with this prompt here, so that's cool. I like the fourth one where it seems like there's like some precarious like bridge they have to cross. But definitely a fan of the goat one. The goat one's really funny. What is this one? Okay, so this was from Lolo Soon, and they did a big description of it. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I love just the amount of like honing in you're able to get off of this result here. It looks very much like a crime drama. I like it. Let's see, what do we got here? This one I saw from a mile away, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." With the like the devil's eye and sage, that's awesome. Now, where was the one I was working on? It's okay. We'll hop back over to our continuity in painting here. So, if we look at the result of that, there you go. Look at that. Michael's now wearing the suit, and his hands are like believably like where they should be now. And it's all because we were able to input with a better version of Michael. I'm going to go with, I really like that open hand here, but I want to see which one I like. I'm just going to pick it based on the hair. Yeah, let's go with, why not? We'll go with this one here. And we're going to just bring in a couple more details. Like I'm going to bring these sleeves back into here and see if we can get Michael to be gesturing a little bit here. I also want to make sure we fix his hair up here, because we really don't want to have any mismatching between the characters inside of each one of these panels, because you'll see for the next why that is for the next result. So we'll take it from there. And now there's more frogs. All the frogs. Can you add multiple character references? Missed that part where you created multiple. Okay. So, Candy, yeah, happy to answer that for you. So, yeah, we are currently using this, and it is a single image that features both the characters in them. Not every image is going to work like this. We're kind of still very much trying to figure this stuff out. We are no way is there like a hard set rule of how this stuff works. So this is simply the most successful character reference I've had with two characters that I'm comfortable with sharing right now. But we have a bunch that we've been messing with on our server. And so if you hop over to the Gnarly Studios server, you'll see that there's a bunch of characters that we've submitted to the portal here. But above that, you'll see the challenges and then multi-character character references, and you can start to see where this whole sort of thing started. I did make one with Rio and Victor. So this one isn't a very good Rio in my opinion. Like Rio doesn't really look like Rio, but it does work really well though. So it's pretty easy for us to do --cref. Paste our two character, whatever one image has both of our characters in it, and then do --CW0 in order to encourage as much diversity, in the performance of those characters. It's not going to just be them sitting at a table talking to each other in slightly different versions of each one. And so now since we have the character reference in there, without a style reference, it's going to look a lot like this, like what iTrollForYou has, where each result is kind of dramatically different for the styles. For the sake of example, I will bring back I believe this is the Sage and Michael comics here, right? Yep. So I'll bring back this style reference, paste that into here. And now with the style reference, --SW, that's how you set the weight for that. We are setting it to 50 because with such a low weight, it allows for the comics that we're saying, hey, make it look like this style, doesn't completely dominate the aesthetics. So like, not everyone's going to be in a business suit. Not everyone's going to be using 1994 laptop. Like we don't want that information taken from the style reference. We want just the general idea of a comic taken. So lowering the weight of the style helps a lot for that. Now we just set it to Niji 6 and then give it a premise. So we have right now it's Victor and Rio, sharing a morning coffee or something. So we can do writing at two people, as long as it refers to two people in some way. Usually this works. Two people riding a tandem bike. Why not? And we will hit submit on this. We are not describing our characters in any way, shape, or form with this prompt. It is relying entirely on the character reference and keep in mind, entirely on a character reference that's set to 0 to actually do that. So the more you write, the more you will get the prompt to represent the characters. Like Rhapsody has a goblin character, for example, just writing goblin in there will help, but it sometimes increases the amount of diversity you get rather than honing in what you want. To me, I find it to be a lot more reliable to work off of the parameters that let you use your own images. feel like I just have a lot more control that way. So I'm curious to see if you guys feel the same. Okay, here we go. Here is Rio and Victor doing a tandem bike ride together. And so what we can do is now start in painting the details. Personally, like working with words a lot, but that's just me. Yeah, Rhapsody and I kind of have different approaches to this stuff, and it is really interesting to see them in action. You know what I mean? Because we work in like completely different directions sometimes, and then they come back together in really fun ways. So, for example, here I'll work on Victor. I'll get Victor all cleaned up in this one, and then use whatever Rio references Rhapsody throws at me, because I don't actually have the updated ones, I don't think. So I'll just work on Victor here for a moment, just so you guys can see. To grab his looks, I'm just going to bring up his save here. So if you use /prefer option set, you can save your characters inside of your Midjourney account. I'll show you guys that in a sec. But the reason I just haven't really put a lot of emphasis on it, because it doesn't work with some of the tools right now. So we're just going to replace all the links for that multi-character one with a single character. So this will be Victor. And then I increase that weight back to 100 or 90 or some really high number. Okay. And the goal here is only to remove the stuff that doesn't match the character. Okay. Because if we remove too much stuff, then guess what? You no longer preserve that unique dynamic that you were able to save between these two characters. And now it is just, basically a whole new image as soon as you over in-paint on these. So we're just going to in-paint the differences here. If I were to select Victor's whole head here, his head could change shape drastically. So I'm just going to submit these two changes, making sure his sleeves end up staying black at the end, and that he's not wearing glasses. We'll just start with that. Do you want fumbling around Rio or normal Rio? You give me whichever one you want, Rhapsody. I'm down for either one of them. Look at all the puppies. It's very romanticized laying in puppies, though. Okay. So we can we now have a Victor-like face and proper sleeves. Let's go ahead and now in-paint the hair. You can see I do this stuff in chunks specifically because I want to be able to control this the best I can. So I really don't like the idea of just going like selecting massive amounts of area in your frame, because you're leaving so much up to Midjourney at that point. You're not making as much. You're not doing as much iterative and more RNG at that point. So we'll see how this little in paint goes to get his hair looking good, and then we'll switch over to Rhapsody. I do not know what's going on here. It is certainly pure chaos, and I love it. Okay, there we go. All right, so we have now Victor's hair. So let's go ahead and do 3 here. I'll try selecting the pants and see if it lets us... excuse me. We'll see if the pants will let us transform it without losing too much of... cohesion here. We might lose with this much area being taken up, but we'll see what happens. I'll just go ahead and hit submit on this. The beauty of this, though, is that once you have the prompt set up for I'm working on this character, or I'm working on this character, then it's a lot easier to basically say, all right, now fix this, now fix that, now fix this, because you don't have to change the prompt at all. You just have to bring the character back in and then go from there. You only really change the prompt when you very much need to accomplish a very specific goal, like you're replacing a single panel inside of the result and going, I need this panel to do specifically this. That would be an example of changing it up. All right, and like I thought, we would lose cohesion with the pant leg. Because there's not a lot of information for, for bringing the legs to be in the correct positions. It basically highlights like the whole thing. There's already a pair of legs next to it because of Rhapsody. So like we basically like as if he's like coming to a halt, like the legs straighten out significantly. So we might either want to like lower the character weight, but it also makes sense to just partially inpaint the legs too. So like for example, if I do Very Region again, instead of inpainting all of these, I am going to just select the waistband here and some of the knee. Okay. And we're basically going to try to do a 2-color approach to this. Okay. I see you got your spell, got your fumbling around Rio, and then hijack, tumbling up, fumbling around references. Okay, cool. Awesome. So let me grab this result here, right? Okay, now it's finishing up now. Okay. Yeah. So you could see that we just didn't really influence the legs very much because again, it's going to be basing a lot of that off of what's already in the frame. So let's go ahead and get Rio updated here. So I will copy her character references. Very Region. And the one thing that we can do is I want to make sure we preserve this hand that's here. And we got to bring in her glasses. Hair should be a little different. And we're just going to start off with that and copy her character references, paste hers into there, and then her actual prompt here is a Mo anime character, a young female woman with round black glasses, long white hair, blue eyes, wearing a black shirt and red jeans. So I'm going to submit one where we leave it as is. And then I'm submit another where I have changed the prompt to match Rhapsody's here. So we just swap out that prompt and then hit submit onto these. Now I could go ahead and start replacing a lot more of it because of just how much description there is in here. So let's actually select all of the jean jacket and we'll go from there. We'll see what this does. I'll check out what you're saying here in a second, a little angry. Okay. So here we go. This is with character weight still listed at 100. Okay, so I want to see the next one should be the one where we remove the jacket as well. It's largely the same on these two here. I do like the smile though. I like Rhapsody's smile here is so cute. And you can see that when we selected a ton of area, we lost the holding of we even Victor grew some breasts in that one. So that's the problem of going too far with it. But it's kind of funny. She has like this second handlebar that she's holding here now. So let me go ahead and try to get her to let's focus on the jacket and what she's doing as opposed to describing her, right? So she is holding onto him while riding a bike. So we'll say she is holding on for dear life as he rides the bike, or as he rides. I guess drive. No, not driving. It would be as he just on the back seat of his bike, on the back seat of his bike, even though it's technically the same seat. I'm just going to hit on the back seat of his bike. And I've selected her entire like kind of jean jacket area this time, or sorry, her jacket area here. We'll see what that kind of gives us. A man and woman with glasses sitting at the lake for my troll for you. Nice. Yeah, and without any style references, it certainly We'll give you a lot of diversity there. All right, so we definitely didn't get the arm clasping around, right? So let's try to introduce that idea. We can use an image prompt to kind of help guide us in that result. So let's do that. So let me go ahead, hit vary region here. And I'm going to now Google holding on while riding bike. And let's see. I want to find a shot of somebody doing that. So 2 people on one bike. Yes. Okay. You know, like that's a kind of a good shot for that. But I want to. There we go. Let's grab this. This one should be good here. So we have this image here of these 2 people on the bike. I'm actually going to copy this image and bring it into Photoshop really quick. And you'll see why in just a moment. Yeah, that's my default background because I literally installed Windows 11 and just kept working. I didn't do any. Yeah, going to the future. But I'm going to select this image here because I want to grab this part of the image, trying to avoid that Puma logo particularly. And then copy that, and we will bring that into Discord here. But we need to actually get a link for that one snippet that I made. So we'll go ahead and paste that here. Okay. I'll copy this image, like the link to it anyway. And now we are going to grab the InPaint for this. So let's actually preserve some of this arm because we want to be able to say, hey, there's actually part of the body here. So let's grab that. And then at the front of this prompt, I'm going to paste the link that's the link to that segment of that image that we had. And she is holding on to his waist. I'll just say that. To his waist. And we might get an AI filter clicking in here, but we'll see what happens. And we'll do that one more time, but let's drop the character weight to like 50. Just to give us a little more flexibility on the character design here. All right, let me take a look at the text chat while these are coming in. Flipping around is the name of the IT guy's story in the office. The jacket is fine, though. If you can't destroy it, turn it into chaos. Evil laughter. Indeed. If you can't create, corrupt. Yep. The bike is part of the C-Ref. Oh, okay. Yeah. Bike ref. There's like a bicycle in between them. That's great. Ooh, Fungi Mancer did some fun expansion inside of inside of text too. If you guys want to check that out. Okay. Now this is the one where he said holding his waist, right? But it has that image up on the front of it, and then right now that image is set to default, right? So let's go ahead and jump that, and you can see it kind of got it. It's putting somewhat the body into the right place, but I want to emphasize that a little more. Let's go ahead and say at the end of this in image weight -IW, and then set that to like 2.5. Image weight will only look at that link that's inside of the actual prompt, not the parameters, but just the prompt itself. And we'll attempt to make that more important, give it more value in your prompt. So if you do have like an image that you guys are like messing with, then you need to you really need to get a specific composition, particularly. That's where image weight comes in. Being able to essentially copy the pose or shape of something else. So let's take a look at this. Okay. So with 2.5, it's still a little wonky, but what about this one up here? This one is just, this is the one where we, let's do the first one here, because I like how her hands are sitting on the side here. Yeah, like that's fun. But let's take a look at the actual character references here. That's very cute. Nice. And she is definitely wearing different clothes in one of those shots, but shouldn't be a big deal. And she's wearing jeans and yep. Okay, cool. So we have her character here. And we could just kind of go from there. When it comes to creating the rest of this scene here. Could be something as simple as, okay, now we're going to reference this image, or now we're going to expand off of this result and see what Midjourney, creates around it. Because we still have our style references set to it. So, scroll down. Okay. What is Floor doing inside the servers? What is she doing? People have been referencing already. That's awesome. Yeah, for sure. The whole freaking lightsaber fight's hilarious. That's awesome. Cool. So what I'm gonna do though is we'll select this one, and then we're gonna do let's just do a fun prompt. Let's just say bike riding, two people riding a bike through, I don't know, we've already done Paris. Let's do somewhere we don't normally go. Let's I'm trying to think. Let's go through Peru. But where in Peru? Bogota? Oh, no, Bogota's not in Peru. None of you guys are gonna recognize anything from Peru anyway. So let's do Moscow. Sure. And then I'll do --cref, paste the link to the bike. And then Niji 6. And this is without any style references or anything. We'll just see what it does. The Walmart in Bogota. Machu Picchu. Yeah. Let's get a couple of these ideas. The moon. I wonder if we did the moon and dropped the character weights to 0, if it would give helmets. So this is the bike riding through Moscow with no style references. So you can see just how drastically different the styles diverge around here. So let's go ahead, and you guys can just hear my dog loudly licking up his bowl. Okay, Ziggy, you can stop. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Okay, sorry about that. What's the Machu Picchu gift shop? I'm sure there's a gift shop at Machu Picchu. Let's see here. You got me curious now. Okay. So I'll put that prompt in here. Let's do shopping at the Machu Picchu gift shop. KFC parking at the Machu Picchu KFC parking. Hold on. Okay. Oh no. I'm gonna try to make this educational by bringing in a style reference, so we can see what the Sage and Michael comics, these two here, how much they influence this result. So it just keeps on lightsaber battling. Why do you have me beating up Rhapsody? Why do you have Rhapsody beating up me? Okay. Shopping at the Machu Picchu gift shop didn't really get us anything too exciting. So I'm going to hit now style reference and then paste the Sage comics in there. And when I say not really too interesting, is that if you look at these, it's like it doesn't actually represent anything we really wrote. It's, yes, they're shopping. Yes, there's a bike, but it's not. I like I said, I was curious what Machu Picchu gift shop would give us. So maybe it's nothing interesting at all, but we'll see what happens here. Wait, what are you doing here? Okay, I can see why Rhapsody responded like that. Okay, all right. It's definitely more interesting. Definitely more interesting to have what is it? This little bit of style reference being applied from the Sage comics, because we get a bigger scene. Like look at these people, the backgrounds and whatnot are far more interesting to me. Let's see here. Man and woman shopping at the Machu Picchu gift shop with the personalization code attached. That's pretty cool. I like that. Is it still referencing us? Okay, yeah. It'll see my stuff as having glasses too. Just wanted to bonk the bike out of the reference. I'm sure that's the only thing you wanted to bonk. I get it. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look. I see some of Lolosun's characters here too, which is I do always love the more realism that his Gigaplex Gigopolis. I'm forgetting the name of it right now, but I do like the more realism that is introduced in your series here, man. It does look pretty cool. And this is Draxler Andreas doing some riffs off of that. Very cool. I noticed the Roxy and Blobby ones earlier, but I didn't comment on them. So it's just four of the same. So I didn't really get too much out of that, but I did like Every Friday. Oh yeah, there you go. That's a pretty cool expansion. Okay. All right. Let's I like this one a lot, actually. There's a lot of potential to come into here and just say, all right, I'll grab Victor's links really quick. Here, and then replace that character reference, which is the multi-character one, with the single character one. And then right now it's at 100%, so we can leave it as is and just highlight select everything that's wrong. I'll take the gamble and I'll even highlight his pants and we'll see what we get out. There's like a bag that's next to him here. I'm going to get rid of that too. But we'll take out the jeans. Okay. And then submit that. Yeah, these Machu Picchu ones are pretty funny. Now, I will say that you guys are going to notice that there is a certain emphasis here. I need to scroll up here to show you guys this. The emphasis being on what is it on the angles here, because like it's really fun to see these results, but you'll start to notice patterns, particularly patterns when it comes to poses and shapes of the body and stuff like that. I get them a lot when it comes to Sage and Michael together, where they're always trying to romanticize them. I guess there's a lot of images involving two faces, two people and stuff. They all kind of converge to the same sort of romantic, imagery. So it's not uncommon for these multi-CRFs to basically be how you ship people, honestly. Like if you want to see two characters interacting, that kind of thing, a lot of times they interact in ways that are rather intimate. So just be aware of that. Be aware of that ahead of time. Yeah, there you go. Go to horny jail. Exactly. Go to horny jail. There's plenty of people that are going to go to horny jail today. So let's go ahead and we got Victor in there now. So let's get Rio in there. And we can actually do a pretty big box select for Rio here, because I think this is going to work just fine. Okay. And then replace the character reference. What are these two men eating lunch in the middle of a dirty alleyway? What are they doing? That's half of the fun of this stuff for me, is just to kind of explain the images, right? To give like logic and reason to them and stuff. It's so much easier with the Sage and Michael comics because I have like a story and arcing like line that I'm going with, so I can manipulate like what would Michael do, what would Sage do in this situation, you know. A lot of times I'm changing expressions to match the characters better, but you could see that when I selected too much of an area, we start to break the reality or the cohesion of the shot. And this really came up a lot with Rio here because I've noticed that the larger of an area you guys end up selecting, the more it brings in like minimalism and such, because we're working with these character references and style references. So what I'm going to do is come back up to the prompt here, hit vary region, and I'm going to deselect whatever, you know, like I basically just don't want to inpaint too much. I don't want to see that much diversity. I want to make sure her face stays largely the same shape, that kind of thing. But we can get rid of what's in her hands here because it's not relevant to whatever sort of moments happening here. But importantly, I am bringing back the features that I want to keep, because that inpainting too much will just introduce so much chaos to the process that you don't really get that control to have at least where I consider it necessary to be able to call it my art. I need to be able to show that there was a process behind it, you know. So that's a lot better right off the bat in terms of making it more cohesive and interesting. I do like how the hands are kind of resting on her knee now. So let's go ahead and select the second one here. Okay. And then it's just a matter of like, how do we finish the scene? You know, the most commonly, at least for me, like I'll bring this up into the editor here. And from before, by the way, when we selected those inpaints, it didn't really do Michael's shoulders here. So I'm going to move on from that one. But I want to reload this because now we can take this scene here, hit edit, and you can actually hone in as well. So we can zoom in here and then say, spanning this up here, let's say that this is multiple. We don't even have to write multiple comic panels necessarily, but we do need to include something that evokes comic panels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the references from Rhapsody here, paste those. So these are the ones that have been edited to feature Rio. Should be giving us better results for style referencing these. But now, because there's already comic panels inside the style reference, we shouldn't actually have to ask for comic panels, but we will need to remove the character reference. So we'll get rid of those. And then I'm going to get rid of the personalization code because, again, it skews the results in such drastic directions, or such a, not drastic, I would say, such a specific direction for the personalization code. I don't really like expanding off with them. For example, my personalization code's really good at getting like character art done with nice, clean white backgrounds and stuff. Every time I would expand with that, it just would give me some sort of derivativeness of that. And I want something interesting out of this. So let's do walking. Let's do walking by the lake, and then say like two people walking by the lake. And then I could also do one where I just say multiple comic panels, just to see what it does, just to see what sort of diversity we get off of that alone. And then I'll jump back into the chat here with you guys. You could see that when we just expand out, we actually just got a larger scene of the lake, and it's very pretty, actually. That's a real fun shot. But we didn't get any additional comic panels off of that one, so I might need to bring up the weight of that a little bit. Okay, so with this one, we got only one result that had actual comic panels in it. And that was by referencing multiple comic panels. So let me go ahead and grab this shot again here, hit edit, And then let's go ahead and increase the style weight to like 750, something really high. This is most likely going to take scenes from the office place and start to inject those in. I just want to show you guys what exactly happens when we set this value really high. It essentially breaks the scene in some way. Yeah, let's just bring that in here. Okay, so we we have still a shot by the lake. That is true. But the we have a little more fun when it comes to the poses and shapes of the characters here. It's a bit of a crapshoot though. So let's go ahead and hone this in a little more. I do like this shot though. I really do like this. I almost want to keep expanding off of that, but I'm gonna instead go for. Let's go back to this one here. Okay. And instead of going that far up, I'm going to come down to here. Let's shrink this down a little bit. And then I'm going to say, walking along the lakeside. And I'll drop this to 50. And we can reintroduce the character reference if we wanted to. It's not what I recommend doing, but sometimes it's what we need to do. Let me see, where was that? Sure, let's do this one. Because that is from a new scene. So we can now do -CW and then paste, or sorry, CREF and then paste that. That will make that the character reference. So let's say riding bike along the lakeside. We'll see if we're able to capture that or recreate that scene a little bit. This is like maybe like a break from the bike ride, right? And then we'll just keep going from there. Especially if you set it as a character reference, there's a good chance that we end up like already having the characters in the shot, so you can see it's not really generating that scene. So let's go ahead and move this camera around a little bit. I will bring this from up to down because we just keep generating more of the lake. So let's go to the side here and then submit this. I do that a lot, actually. I'll move around the canvas, but it just keeps creating the same thing again and again. Like it did here, where it's just constantly lakeside shots like this. You could also introduce a parameter like chaos. That would help. But it really just comes down to the fact that when we start to like pick and choose when we introduce the character references again, like this one's pretty fun. I like Rio a lot in this one here. So let's go ahead and bring this down and now say riding a bike along the lakeside, and then we will submit this one and see if we can basically just keep expanding this moment and see what sort of story we could tell just off of these initial results. All right. I know you guys have been chatting. I apologize about not keeping up with that. We still got to do Machu Picchu KFC parking lot. Oh God. Look at the phone references. It's amazing. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. So Chaos Gnomes. Yeah. They remind me of what I did last Halloween, actually, where I did like a bunch of summoning circles, little evil guys, little lackeys. That was a lot of fun. So you can see here that we definitely have, like, if we keep expanding, we will basically just create these sort of like hybrids between Rio and Victor, but they're kind of like riding bikes with each other, which is pretty cool. So let's try this now, where we take this and then we say, okay, no. This is a multiple comic panels depicting two people riding along the lakeside. I'm going to say bike riding. And then I'll do one where I remove the character reference. And then we can also do one where we have the character reference in there, but we drop the character reference to 0. Okay, let's take a look at these. Already way better in terms of getting us nice, clean paneling. Just because we are asking for that now. Multiple comic prompts. Oh, that's awesome. We have us actually side by side in one of them. That's great. These are awesome. Okay, let me link these for you guys. So let's copy, then go to job ID. And then I am going to bring us back into VC Create. Oh my God, there's so much stuff from you guys. I'm going to just take a moment to scroll through. Whoa, Flora, that is awesome. That would actually make a really good style reference. So let's go ahead and hit /show and then paste that into here. And there you go. This is our little bike ride. I really like the result of the third one. I just love the active, like Victor, like talking to Rio. Like almost like it seems almost like a dare, like he's like challenging her a little bit here. That's pretty fun. So let's go ahead and we can start to fix up the characters to match the finish scene here. Sorry, I'm a little scatterbrained here, but Ancient, I love the face out here. Like this is just, I love the scowl. It's amazing. That's awesome. What did you do on this one, actually? I'm curious. Multiple comic panels of a girl holding a potion in front of her, facing viewer, speech bubbles saying 50 gold. I see. I will say that the facing viewer, right, maybe the only like really unnecessary part of this is because by default, character reference is going to be very heavily leaning towards the front. But what I'm surprised about is he didn't pick the second one here, because look at the back of Flora here. You have a great reference now for her for the backside of her. So if we want to come into here and say, all right, she's wearing her hood though, so let's go ahead and select this area up here, and then hit submit, and we should be able to recycle this to see if we can get her hood back on there. Getting a character face away from you is actually quite challenging. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. We found a neat little trick for that, which was, I'll just show it to you guys here, really quick. I'll use Flora for this. So we'll hit the style reference. Actually, yeah, it should be good here. So we come into here, hit /imagine, and then we're going to write, looking at the sunset. And then if you need to, drop the character weight, right? Oops, I ran that as version 6.1. Hold on. G6. Okay, yeah, so now we got one with her hood on. That's how easy it is, guys. Like literally, that's how easy it is. You could just like highlight the area and go like, yep, there should be something different here. And then boom, you got now Flora, the backside reference for Flora. That is awesome. Okay, so now we have staring into the sunset with Flora here, and you'll notice that because of the, and this is with version 6.1, so we'll wait for the Niji one to come through as well. But even with a prompt that heavily encourages the character to not look at camera, they're still looking at camera. You have two choices here. You could easily in-paint just the sliver of the face that shows through and just say hair or something and generate the backside of the character like that. But it's in my opinion, it's way easier just to drop the character weight down, because essentially what we're doing here is we're asking Midjourney to not be so strict on the actual like character itself. So it's a lot of times what like especially when you're asking for looking at the sunset, looking away, that kind of thing, you want to bring in something that basically forces the character to look out in that direction. And we can actually expand out from these scenes to encourage that as well. So like if I say select the second one here and we do I can even just do a zoom out of this because it already has a character weight in there, or character reference. We should be able to get another shot of her nearby this one, of her looking away from camera now, as soon as we turn off that the character weight itself. So like I'll go to custom zoom, and then basically delete the character reference here. Okay. And then hit submit. And then she should be looking at the sunset in another part of the frame here. Because if we leave the character reference in there, boom, you've basically said, oh, this is my character. We're just going to expand on this one character. But you can, there's a lot of ways around this that you can make this work. So getting character, blah, blah, blah. I used the Sage Comic SREF in that, which may not be helping. Oh, okay. Yeah, that may also be encouraging characters to be facing forward. It's like a storybook. Yeah, let's do it the other way then, because it worked pretty well with version 6.1, right? So let's select this one here. And then we can basically just highlight select with Vary Region the part that isn't accurate. So let's go for here. And we just delete the character reference. In fact, I kind of want to try that with Yona at this point. So let me try this. Looking away. Look, I'm just going to do looking at the sunset, because you notice it worked quite well for doing that in paint. That's pretty rad. So let's go ahead and hit /imagine, paste that into here, and then I'm going to drop the stylization a lot, because when you set it that high, when you set a stylization that high, what happens is it'll just oversample it. Basically, it'll make it so that there's less likeliness that you're going to get dynamic changes. But I'm going to set this, instead of Niji 6, I'm going to set this to version 6.1. Again, there's more realism. There's more information in there, so we might be able to get it to where we don't have to like basically force the heads to turn around. But it's pretty easy to select that sliver of the face and say, nope, that's the back of her head, and then delete the character reference and just go from there. Okay, so now we have a realistic version of Yona looking at the sunset, and it's very real. It's just straight realism. Like she's looking back at camera here, like that is some uncanny valley stuff right there, guys. Like that stuff that for some people is really spooky. But what we can do, yeah, that's weird. Oh yeah, definitely. But what we can do with this one though is go to very subtle, keep all this in here for now. We might need to remove the character reference, but I'm going to now switch this with a variation to Niji 6. It's also why I don't really like using personalization codes a lot, is because I swap between Niji and V6 a lot, right? And it just adds another parameter that I have to remember or remove or whatever. Okay, so switching to Niji 6, only one of them really worked. Go for this one here. Yeah, the 2 character prompts is a fun way to look at it too. But you could see that by switching over the Niji, it kept a lot of the realism there, but it started to change the character design. Yeah, I wouldn't really recommend that method. Looking at it now, I think that it's a lot better to get a much closer up shot. She's looking at camera in this one, which is the unfortunate part of that. But what I'm going to do is let's actually start with Niji 6. We have the character weight set to 0. Looking at the horizon, sunset, and then I'll submit this. Working on server equipment in the server room. That's awesome. Yes. That's exactly what I imagine it is. You every day work it. Yeah, it is the Sage Code by itself. Like you guys are calling it that, but it essentially just the low style weight of the Sage comics will produce a lot of realism. But I control an army of devs instead. Yeah. So you can see here that we got one of these slivers that we could use. So I can come into here, hit 2. And then vary region. And because the prompt says staring into the sunset, the only thing I should have to do is select everything from her face, because her back, like the important thing is that her back's represented here. Like we don't really need to emphasize on her body's orientation. It's just the sliver of the face that's here. So I will now delete the character reference. Make sure that we remove the weight as well, and then hit submit. If you do get too much realism in the style reference, then just increase the style weight. Just increase it slightly. What is that? This? Oh no, that is a bit wonky. Too much overproduction. Definitely too much overproduction in that one. Or not enough production. Right. Okay, there we go. So that's a very easy way to make the back of the head. For this, we just have to make sure we select one that doesn't have like a random ear. So let's do the second one here. And then we can just expand down, like a prompt down. I like the little star that I added right in the middle. That's cute. This little star. There you go. She's looking at the North Star or something. These results are great, Rhapsody. Yeah, just expand on these. Like that's all you got to do. So like say like this one. And we'll set custom zoom. Now you could do this with the manual editor really easily, but we're going to do this in Discord. So we set the custom zoom to 1, and then we're going to set the aspect ratio to something tall to evoke like a page for a comic. So 1-2 or :2, and then let's just submit this as is, and then start removing things we don't need, like depending on the results. We might need to remove the character reference, might need to remove the image weight that's on there, but that should be enough. Prompt for basic description of Rio in painting the face with your CRF with this worked well. There we go. And then that's how we can expand out and kind of, show this scene, this moment. At least in a more interesting, like all different angles that we can then pull apart using Photoshop and kind of craft our own scene with this. But because the character reference is still in there, it's all very much the same shot, just slightly different, expressions, which you very much will need. You will oftentimes need a character to be doing multiple poses and stuff in the same shot. But say we wanted even more diversity out of this, then I can just re-roll that prompt, because we did it here with custom zoom. I can just re-roll that prompt and start deleting things. So I'm going to start deleting the character reference. That'll be the first thing I delete. And then I submit that and take a look at it. And again, I'm not changing the premise of this prompt at all. I'm letting you guys have control over that. I'm just showing you kind of like my workflow here for this. What is, you got the Blobby and Roxy together. That's pretty cool. Okay. By removing the character reference, right? Look how much more the shot just gets dominated by the neighboring information. So like, for example, the third result here, I think is probably one of the more exciting ones for you guys. Look at the subtle changes in expressions that happen with Rio here. That's what we want. We want to be able to say, hey, this is a conversation between two people, and Rhapsody is just giving these subtle like changes to her expression. That's how we have a conversation with comics, right? Now it's way easy for me to just upres this result and put someone that she's talking to here, right? And giving giving an excuse for her to give that glare at that person. I could think of a couple different scenarios that would make fun of this scene here. So we'll go ahead and upscale that. But now I'm going to re-roll that again. But this time I am going to get rid of the image prompt that's in the front here. Okay. And we'll hit submit on this. And so on and so forth. You eventually start to whittle yourself down and to figure out where the interesting parts of your comic are, and you're able to explore without actually changing the premise at all. We'll see where this takes us. All right, here comes my little secrets to expressions. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's just remove parameters, right? But look at this fun. Yeah, I know. You do a lot more than that. I'm joking, but still rendering. Yeah. But it's for me anyway. It comes down to a lot of finding where the patterns are and then getting rid of them to find more interesting things. Okay, yeah. So, is this all your different expressions? I see. There you go. There's your expression chart. So you're just remaking an expression chart with her. There you go. Awesome. You could do that with anybody, by the way. Just bring it in how she has it here. You can copy her prompt if you want to. Steal it. Yeah, you definitely get a different vibe when you start introducing other art styles, especially how overly rendered art styles. I know I'm a little bit obsessive when it comes to the Sage comic stuff because I have to be, but it's how I'm able to get more, at least more value out of my Midjourney account is basically just by trying to hone in very specific goals. So like, for example, we can now take Rhapsody's like facial chart here. I'm curious what this will do. We're going to copy the facial chart and we're going to find that result that was probably up here. Yeah, this one here. And I'm going to hit vary region. And then I'm just going to select her face here on this bottom one here. Okay. And let's do the top one too, because that's we can make that one more interesting too. A little bit of the hair shape. There you go. Okay. And I'm going to replace the prompt entirely now with the face chart from Rhapsody. And I'm not giving any specific expressions. I just want it to cycle through the expressions. Yeah, trying to see all the different options you might have here is interesting. Oh, thank you so much for joining, Little Angry. It's been a lot of fun having you here. So let's take a closer look at these. So by changing the facial chart with the chart here, we definitely get a couple different expressions from her. A lot of really cute ones. I really like this one. There's a lot of really cute expressions that came off of just copying Rhapsody's prompt here and then bringing it over as an in-paint. So yeah, definitely keep that one saved if you want to work with these two characters here. Because I'm looking at this now and I'm like, the act of like actively in painting the expressions is not in painting, image weighting the expressions. Definitely makes me think like, okay, it's going to give us that diversity, but it's also going to hone us into whoever was the one that drew that expression chart, and that you picked a really good chart. So I think that that's fine, but it is certainly true that I would be worried about like everyone's expressions being very similar if we all lean into this one chart. But I am curious to see what that does. You guys have already a bunch of characters, seeing the diversity coming from there. See, I'm seeing less good results with Yona than I am with Rhapsody, and that's probably just because of stylistic differences. So, yeah, right. It is different for each character for sure. Okay. So in about 15 minutes, we will be starting the after party for the stream here today. At 6:30 or so, we swap over to the Gnarly Studios server to let you guys all come on the stage and chat with us directly, share your projects, everything you guys are working on. We want to hear it from you. If you guys got any questions you want to ask us directly over voice, you're welcome to join the after party for that. The Kinky has linked the server inside of VC Text. So just join that server, and then right after the stream, you'll be able to hop in to the voice chat there and say hey. And join the after show, the show after the show. Thanks for linking that, you guys. I appreciate that. So from here, though, I want to kind of scroll through and find some of the other cool stuff that you guys have been doing. Yes, forcing more of these expressions. Did you use a higher image weight for that? So what we can do is let's re-roll this one, and then I'm going to set the image weight to 2.5. We'll see if that just forces certain expressions onto Yona here. I say that, by the way, because I noticed in Flora here just how much everyone has Rhapsody's kind of like little broken kitty cat smile. That's definitely a result of us all sharing the same expression sheet. And with the higher image weight, you notice that her face is starting to white out a lot more here, but we are getting more like manga expressions from that. So yeah, you could definitely increase the image weights and force certain expressions, but then you might need to go in and manually bring back skin tone and all that kind of stuff into the results. So especially with a darker skin character. Yeah. DSA 157 said, great session. Thanks. Learned a lot. Side question. What tools are you using for your animated presentation? How does it animate your mouth with your speech? Okay. My first time joining a presentation, so maybe you've answered this before. I have, but I'm more than happy to explain. I'm using Adobe Character Animator in order to bring one of my generated results to react to my webcam. That's what I'm using right now. So the main thing is that you need to. It's a process. You need to basically rip apart one of the models so that you're creating every limb, every person, like every part of it. It's like an individual component that you can then move around. I was really lazy about it. I only did like my chin, my face, my eyes. Like I can't even move my arms. Everything just wiggles based on what's on my hip. So it's a really easy model for me. Other people have much more complicated models. I think Rhapsody has the most complicated model that I have seen. I actually shared a little like video of her character like giving a presentation where there's a little fireball that she can cast and all that stuff. And I had a group of about like 35, maybe 40 seasoned comic artists go, okay, I want to do that. I want to do what she's doing. That seems like a lot of fun. And then they get like 2 minutes in. Yeah, there it is. She linked the GIF here. Like 2 minutes into learning the program, they go, okay, I'll stick with the bare minimum instead, because it took so much time for Rhapsody to make this character and to make it look as good as it does. And being able to do what she does with it is awesome. So we should have a stream dedicated to Adobe Character Animator, but honestly, guys, the reason I hesitated about doing that is because I don't like the idea of my face being broadcasted. And so You can't really do both, right? You can't really have a stream focused on webcams and then not show your webcam. So, yeah, it's definitely true that you just mess around with Adobe Character Creator. Start with one of the presets, learn how it works, and then go from there. Let's see. I'm glad you guys are sharing these expression charts. You can find more of them on Google, by the way. Especially if you need one to be colored. You shouldn't, because look at how well Enid Pixit's expression chart came out. It's so good. Like that gets us so many options right off the bat for choosing in the future what expressions we want our characters to have. Okay. So like, it now she has this complete library that she can rely on to be like, I need her angry. So instead of having to write, I need her angry, or whatever, writing that into the prompt, you just use the appropriate image. It cuts out so much labor for you to do that. Because so much about the character reference is taken from the actual image. So like if I say, take only one of these expressions, so I'll use the snipping tool for this. If I take only one of these expressions, okay, copy, and then paste. Okay, we have this one angry expression of her. We can now come up to a previous result with that girl. I have seen a couple of them. So yeah, let's see here. We can take this result here. I'm going to select the first one here, just for the sake of a demo. Okay. We're going to hit vary region. And now with this image that we have saved, oops, I need to actually grab the link for that. Open that, grab link, copy. And now with this link, we should be able to copy, come into here, and then let's just select her face on all these. Why not? Okay. And then replace the character reference links with just that one link of her doing that expression onto here. And we don't need to describe her as anger or anything like that. We should just be able to work with this as is and then increase the character weight to somewhere near 100. I'm going to set this one to 90. Now, I didn't recognize there was a bunch of different style references on that, so this may not work as well, but we'll see what happens. Style reference affects a ton as well, but not nearly as much as character reference. All right, let's see what we got. Still rendering. She is a flishy Bobby. Flishy blobby. Cue game show waiting music. Yeah. I used to be able to play music on this stream, but I got sick of balancing audio. Every time my computer would reset, I would get like a very, very annoying repeating bug of all my audio settings disappearing. But you can see here that with the InPaint, right? We got a lot of teeth. It doesn't show her as angry necessarily, but we definitely got the same style of expression with lips and all that sort of stuff. So we can now come into here and start to hone in our results. Like, yeah, I like her upset on the top left here. She's properly, getting angry here on the top right. And now we just need to fix that last panel to be like she's furious or something. So I can come into here, highlight, select that, and say, she's furious. And we can even drop the character weight a little bit just to allow more influence from Midjourney on the result. I'm very curious to come to this stream in the future and scroll through some of these results and see where we can actually get more like usable, exciting potential out of this. All right. So like you can see now she's angry on all four of these results. I really like the bottom right one out of them all. I think that will be the best. There you go. All right. So that's how you use your expression charts. You want to make sure that you generate like a fun selection of different expressions for your characters, keep them all onto one sheet, and then go from there. Okay. Yeah, especially Enid. This is a very fun character with big hair. It is interpreting some of her hair as a tail. If you notice back here, like the end of her hair kind of swoops over in a way that reminds me of a tail. So there's probably a little bit of she is a fox girl. Yeah, I recognize that. Fitting for a fox girl. I recognize, but I'm just saying, like, in terms of like where I'm kind of lost in terms of her silhouette, it's there. It's the difference between her hair and her butt. Let's see here. Okay. Very cool. Well, I know that this was a bit of a scatter of a stream because we had a lot of different characters that we were messing around with, doing a lot of stuff that doesn't always work. So very experimental. Don't consider this any sort of official sort of tool for making multi-character stuff. It just simply lets us experiment with Midjourney in a new way. But I've been making comics this way. I've been actively like exploring new places to go with my characters with this. So I really want to see what you guys do with it. We should throw her together with my Kitsune Koroku at some point. I love this. I love this animation you made with Luma. It looks so good. But yeah, it would be really fun to bash those together. And just to kind of see from you guys, like, I want to see all sorts of different, potentials out of this stuff. So let's see. Fungi says, scattered an awesome stream. A mine of knowledge as always. Okay, all right, yeah. I like it more when I have a more concrete goal intended. But because we are messing with something I consider entirely experimental, like not anything that really can be used by a lot of people because not everyone's like intents are the same. Like this to me was one of the most amazing results that we got out of this whole kind of back and forth that we had, where we started off with something that what is it that I based off of the stuff Rhapsody gave us, but then generated then back and forth, just all of us kind of hopping in and being able to kind of help tell this story. We need to be able to incorporate a character for Rhapsody to be talking to here, which would be just another run of in-painting, basically. If we wanted Rhapsody talking to Sage here, for example, then I'll just use Sage as C Rhapsody and go from there. So, I know the character. Yeah, right. Yeah, I bet you do. Oh, I very much know you do. So yeah, it's just a lot of fun to start exploring this stuff with multiple characters in the frame. I mean, this alone, this one of Roxy and Blobby could be really fun to use as a character reference with them both together. It would be curious to me because I don't think they would share anatomically the same stuff. So it would be basically, hey, let's see what we get out of that. Lolo's tumbling up B. Yeah. Very cool. Alrighty. Well, if you guys have any last minute questions or anything you want to ask here, feel free to say so inside of VC Text. We will be hopping over to the Gnarly Studio server to just all hang out and chat here. And otherwise, I'm working hard on getting comics out, guys. It's been kind of a lot coming up to the holidays, and I haven't been producing a lot lately. So I'm feeling that urge to get stuff produced. So hopefully we'll get a whole new wave of people coming in too with that, because whenever I end up releasing a comic that blows up on Reddit, we end up in a position where we have to start all over again, start off on at the base level with everybody. So I'll get a couple of those out hopefully as soon as next week, but I'm gonna try to be a little less pressure on myself to get stuff done. So let me see what you guys are saying here. Tried some multi-CRF stuff with those, but they merge together too much. Yes, they will always merge together. You're going to definitely be having to balance things out. I personally work with try to find ones that work and then tell stories based off of those, as opposed to going the other way around where I have a story in mind and I'm trying to make that work. With this experimental stuff, it's not reliable enough yet. Not until there's like an official way to say character 1 and character 2, you know. But yeah. Let's see. I need to make Enid to share with the studio. No specific character name yet. Yeah, please do. That'd be fun. I do really like some of these floras that we got out of this, though, especially like the backside of her where she has her hood up and stuff, like this one that I produced, or I in painted. Like this could be very useful. We need to fix her eyes a little bit though, but otherwise it's very usable. Let's kind of let this scroll through for a bit. But otherwise, guys, thank you so much for joining the stream here today. I'm curious to see where you guys can find like usable versions of your characters together, so we can make more crossover content easily. That's kind of like my goal, I guess, out of all this, is to try to see if we can create reliable, or at least as reliable and dynamic combos of characters that goes along the same sort of efficiency that I've been getting with the Sage and Michael comics. So definitely, if you got any that you want to share, you come over to the Gnarly Studios server and submit them to the character portal there. And that's how you're going to be able to keep up with everyone using your character, and they'll share the best results with you. So very cool. And then Rhapsody also shared her character, the Katsune character. So very cool. Awesome, guys. Well, I'm going to cut it short here, and we'll see you over at the Gnarly Studios server. Thank you so much for joining today.